What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here, and today we're talking about telling better stories and just the way it used to be. Thumbnail. Okay. A little bit different today. I want to talk about something that I've forgotten about, that I remember, and then I forget again, and then I remember again, and the cycle seems to continue itself throughout the years that I continue to do this. And that's story. Now, every filmmaker says it, everyone who teaches anybody about films, they're always like it. It almost sounds like a broken record at this point. Story first, story's all that matters, and it is. But the more it's said, the more people talk about it, the more I feel like it just loses its okay, I get it. It becomes an eye roller, like, oh, here we go again about story being important. But if you think about it, it really is. And lately I've been buying gear for my videos and trying to come up with new ways to make them look better, like this new light that I just got. Like I got a remote and I can turn off my little hair light here. I love it. We're all gearheads. I mean, we're in this because we love this medium, but yeah, let's be honest, getting gear is exciting and it can so easily overshadow the bigger picture, which is making great photographs, writing great songs, cooking in delicious food, and a lot of the gear, the prep, the things that help us do this, they start to become the focus of the content. They start to become the focus of our mindsets. And we're no longer thinking about how we can tell a good story. We're thinking about how can I just light it better, or how can I sound better, or how can I get a better shot from the sky? Maybe I need to upgrade my drone again, and then I need to update it again, and then oh, look at that, they came out with another one. Surprise! I need to update it again. You start to forget what really matters in filmmaking, which is telling those stories, right? You could have all the gear in the world, you could have all the lights in the world, all the audio, you could be the best location ever. And if your story sucks, what's the point, right? Let me put this into context, right? Let's say we're walking out of a movie theater. You're with your best friends, you're all walking out. It's that 5 minutes of pure judgment, no holds barred. What did you think of the movie, guys? Here are things you never hear people say. I didn't like that sliding shot in the bathroom. I felt like it could have been a little bit smoother. Maybe they were using a track. Maybe it was just like a push slide. Whatever it was, it's just I wasn't feeling it. You never hear the audio levels were spiking slightly, and I felt like maybe the levels were a little too hot on the lead when they were having their fist fight, or the lighting was a little too hot on his forehead when they were having that interrogation session. You never hear technical things like that, but that's all we talk about. 4K, autofocus. I'm guilty too. That's what I talk about. That's what I think about when I look at things. I wonder what that was shot with. I wonder how they got that audio. I'm guilty of it too. But the things that you hear regular people say, us, friends, regular people, whatever, walking out of a movie is things like, man, that took forever to pick up. I just couldn't get into it. It just took too long to get going, or I didn't understand it at all. I was lost from the beginning. Johnny over here, Johnny was asleep. Johnny was asleep the whole time. He was asleep the whole time. Think about that. You spend 4 years shooting a movie, you secretly creep into a theater to watch it with everybody else, and you look behind you, everyone's sleeping. Can you imagine? Man, that would suck so bad. But what does that tell you? It tells you that all of those things, all of those complaints people have, took too long to get going, they didn't understand, story-related issues. The story had a disconnect in it. The story took too long to pick up. And that's the most important thing. It was probably beautifully shot, beautifully lit. They had a whole team of people just to light it, a whole team of people just to record the audio, all the VFX, all of that stuff goes out the window. Nobody thinks about that stuff. Nobody even discusses it when they leave the theater. They discuss the story, the ending. The ending was awesome, so good. Man, that the top was spinning and then, it was just, what? So good. Or they're like, oh, no, that was horrible. It was weak. This bad act, it all comes back to the story. And I don't want to sound like a broken record. Someone came into my studio right now and was like, yo, Pete, let's talk about story and why it's important. I'd be like, I know, trust me. Thank you, but no thank you. But it's kind of like a testament. Now, funny thing is, I did a talk on this in Las Vegas, at a Las Vegas casino about 2 years ago to like 2,000 people. Now here's the catch, those 2,000 people, they were all magicians. So I was like in the wrong place, talking to the wrong group of people about something that they did not care about, and it was my job to convince them that story mattered. Why was I there? Obviously, you guys know I used to work for a company that did stuff within the magic industry and custom playing cards and that kind of thing, but what the premise was is to illustrate to everybody how story runs through everything. Magic, it's a performance art. It's storytelling, right? Painting, you're telling a story with your photos. With your photography, you're telling a story. You're telling a story with the dishes that you cook and how people eat them in a sequence or what they're tasting, that kind of stuff. It all comes back to story. It's connected to everything. So it was my job to teach these magicians and these performance artists how to incorporate more story into the work that they're doing and why it's so important. Not to mention, I had David Copperfield on the wings watching because he was the next speaker, which is still blows my mind to this day. So one of the examples that I used, which I'm going to show you now, was a little commercial, a demo, trailer, whatever, that I did for a custom deck of cards that this company that I worked for came out with probably about 6 years ago at this point. So this is old. There's a couple of things we'll go over about this trailer specifically that I want to enlighten you with, if you will. But first, we're going to roll this clip. So it's 6 years old, so just be nice. Okay, so that's it. Pretty intense, right? For a deck of cards. I mean, that was the product. But why am I such a fan of this trailer? Why do I think this is relevant right now? At that time, I was still very story focused. I came into this company with something to prove, trying to take what was standard and flip it on its head with what I knew. And coming from these Emmy award-winning filmmakers that were like, story, story. That's what I did. I took this deck of cards, I attached a story to it. I took this guy in the film, my friend Daniel, and I was like, what can we do? How can we tell this? The theme is that underlying craziness that someone has inside and showing two sides to one person, the calm side and the crazy side that we let out of the cage, if you will, right? And there's three things that are important about this trailer that you need to know. Number one, I only had one camera and one lens. Number two, I did it in 45 minutes. And number three, only 4 things were broken. But it worked because I planned it out. We planned the story ahead of time. We wrote it all out. We wrote all the shots out. We knew what we needed to get. We went in, we got it done. Okay, the only things that were broken was the TV, that was the big one, the bathroom mirror, a toaster, and a single light bulb. But we did it systematically. We broke those things at different times throughout the evening so that it didn't sound like we were just smashing the shit out of the room and then left. Actually, a little fun fact is the very shot at the end when he's rolling his suitcase out and he's leaving as if nothing ever happened. All of the glass and metal from the things that we did break, we packed into that suitcase and we rolled it right down to the dumpster and left it there. And then he bought a new suitcase to go home. So fun little fact. We sorted it all out with the management and paid for everything because we explained that we were trying to make some kind of film and they weren't happy about it, but we squared up before we left, which anyway, 6 years ago. But the point to this was you don't need a lot to tell a good story, right? I didn't have anything else but one camera and a lens, but I needed sliding shots. I needed a slider. So I used the ironing board that's in every hotel room. I needed something to prop my camera on that ironing board. So I used the Bible that's in the nightstand of every hotel room. The lighting up above that wasn't very good that we had diffused with a bed sheet from the hotel room. It just didn't look good. So we started to light the whole thing with the TV until we broke it. That created a more natural ambient light. I liked the flickers. It kind of made me feel like it was going a bit crazy. Shot the whole thing handheld because it felt a little more just out of control. Sometimes, like I've said in past videos, the gear, having everything at your disposal can be a bit of a handcuff. Having nothing at my disposal and just trying to come up with something and needing to make it happen is what promoted this creativity that ended up being that trailer. And everybody loved it. It was great. And it's something that I'm still really proud of to this day. And I think I'm really proud of it because it does tell a story. It's a little more than just me running around the Swiss Alps with my camera getting cool shots of mountains and lakes and fast cars with some catchy music. And I'm not making fun of my own films. I'm just saying that doesn't have much substance. You're not gonna watch 15 of those from me in a row and still be like, yeah, where's the next one? Whereas you look at something like House of Cards or look at something like Bloodline or any show on Netflix that you watch at all. Why do people binge these TV shows? Why is that even a thing? It's because someone has written, a team of people have written an incredible story that you're just so wrapped up in that you need to watch episode after episode after episode because it's like reading a book. You want to finish that book, you want to watch that movie, you want to binge that show. So why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we doing more of that? I get that some of us probably are doing it, but myself included, if I'm just being open and honest, I don't even do it enough myself. Why am I not creating enough story-driven content that will move someone, that'll make someone feel something, that'll make someone feel sad or think about their own life or think about someone else's life or bring an issue to light that they didn't know about or just makes them happy or enlightens them about something that they didn't know before. I'm not seeing enough of that content. That's why you guys notice I don't do a whole lot of gear reviews on my channel where I'd love to. I want to do some, and let's be honest, you probably will see some in the future. But the gear has become the forefront. It's all about what camera you're using and what slider is that and where do you get your music and all of those things. Links below. We often forget to ask the real question, which was like, why? Why am I shooting this? What is this doing for me? What is this doing for you? Why am I using that camera? Why am I using that lens? Does that lens do something different for the story that this one doesn't? No, I've touched on these things before, but I just feel lately that we need to get back to this. I need to get back to this. And I wanted to share those thoughts with you guys and give you a little insight into this talk that I gave in Las Vegas, show you this video to kind of teach maybe some people that don't know about this kind of thing, and maybe just remind some people that are shooting things that have kind of fallen into the same trap that I'm in right now, which is just 4K and cool slider shots and 3-axis gimbals. You know, it all goes in fads. You know, DSLRs were the big fad when you could finally shoot with depth of field and everyone was shooting wide open and nothing was in focus. And then it moved to sliders and everyone was just sliding back and forth. Every shot was a slider. And now we've got drones everywhere, right? You see some epic drone footage. You're not as impressed as you used to be because it's all the same. If you have a drone, you can get epic footage. Handheld gimbals for your phone, handheld gimbals for your DSLR, your mirrorless. Get that big Ronin going. And trust me, I love that stuff just as much as everybody else. I can't let it only be about that stuff. It needs to be about the whole thing. And those things are just ingredients to help me tell a better story. And I don't want this to become like an eye roll thing because I get it. I do get it. I hear it myself when I'm saying it. Sometimes I'm like, ugh. Enough about that, I understand. But I think it's not about the understanding, it's more of like a reminder. Let's not forget to tell meaningful stories or take meaningful photos or whatever it is that you do, writing a song. So that's it for me today, guys. Hit that like button if you got something out of this video and you enjoyed it. Smash it if you so desire. I won't hold it against you. Subscribe if you aren't already. You can hit the bell button. You'll be notified every time I upload a video. Be part of the notification squad because, you know, there's lots of fun to be had there. And I will see you guys in the next video. We got a busy week. I'm pretty pumped for a lot of different things. So stay tuned. Super close to 500K. It's insane. What? What? Maybe I'll give away a camera. Because everybody has it inside and everybody does have the tools they need. It's just a matter of figuring out a different way to get to them. Thank you so much.